Portland is a progressive town, and we need a progressive mayor, and we need somebody who is going to be able to articulate the concerns of the community in a way that really recognizes a lot of the work that's happening here and what needs to happen, and is going to be able to dig in and get the job done long term. And we've heard some talk out there about, well, we could just solve homelessness if we picked X model or Y model. And I think those are one-off solutions. I don't think that those really recognize the fundamental reality here, that it's going to take all hands on deck. It's going to take this community coming together, and it's going to take working through the kind of infrastructure that we have, like we've put together for Home for Everyone, to be able to do the hard nuts and bolts work of getting people off the streets, of bringing down the cost of housing, of making sure that people can afford to live in our community. Frankly, I don't see a progressive choice in the race, and I would like to be that choice, and somebody who could come forward and be a candidate who's going to run a campaign and be a mayor for all the folks in this city that have to work for a living, not for those that don't.
As Ted Wheeler said, since he became a candidate, that suggests to you that he is not a progressive, who could be a progressive mayor.
I think what you have to look at is, where is somebody coming from? Who's supporting them? What's their background and their history with policies? I think what we need is a mayor who's willing to do things like divestment from fossil fuels, who's willing to look at how we spend our money, how we are able to direct the resources that this community has. That was something that Ted didn't do at the state level. You need to understand that as a mayor, you're not a dictator, you're a facilitator. And I think too many people come into that job and want to impose their will and think that they're going to be the person who is going to bang the gavel and lead the charge. And the fact is, our mayoral structure doesn't lend itself to that.
Right.
You have to be able to count your votes. You have to be able to build coalitions. It's more like being Speaker of the House. I think that there is a real opportunity to win this race, and I think you got to do it with good old-fashioned campaigning. You got to get out there on the ground, boots on the ground, knocking on doors, talking to people, house parties, grassroots. I think that's what this town is built around, right? Portland is a town that it's a big, small town. People have conversations in their living rooms. People want to see a candidate that's willing to get down and dirty with them, and I think that's how you win. I don't think you can take huge dollar contributions from the 1% and expect to be able to come back and represent the interests of everyday Oregonians and everyday Portlanders. So I am committing in this race to limit my campaign contributions to $250 per person per cycle, and I think that while I recognize that will give me a fundraising disadvantage, and I would get outspent if I do run, I think that's the way to do it in order to make sure that this is a campaign for the people.
So that I understand, you're saying that I could only write you a check for $250.
Correct.
Are you also limiting companies?
Correct, yes.
Unions?
Yes.
To $250?
Yes.
So what if SEIU comes to you and says we want to do a $30,000 ad buy?
I would love to accept $250 towards that $30,000 ad buy. There's a sort of an iron triangle of campaigning, in that you can have lots of money, or you can have lots of people, or you can have lots of name ID, and there's a relationship between all of those things. I'm going with lots of people, and I think that's how we're going to win this race.
So we saw you leave the legislature and run for county in 2014. Now you're potentially running for the mayor's office only a year and a half later.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that open you to sort of charges that you're just an opportunist?
I think the way that I would say that is, I think I never sought out the opportunity to run for mayor. And it's not something that I planned on doing. I enjoy my job at Multnomah County, and I feel like I've done a very good job there. What it really came down to was, and I think the late date is an indication of this, that I feel like in good conscience, people who care about this city need a debate, need an opportunity to have a voice in the discussion. And with one candidate running, that's not good for the city of Portland. And so while I hadn't intended to run, I'm willing to look at stepping up if that's what it takes.